Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It is February 15, 2017, 1:03 p.m. in Birmingham. And the topic, human trafficking. Guys, please hear me out on this because you need to know, because in your family, it may have already affected you, maybe not. But I want to tell you my story, if you please bear with me. I'm, as you know, an ex-cop, and I still carry a badge from 2 counties. I'm not current, but I'll go on a heartbeat when I'm called, and I'm subject to be called at any time. And I have supported the Polaris Project. This is the first group that really exploded onto the scene to help those young girls who are taken against their will and prostituted or sold or used as slaves in human trafficking. But I want to tell you, I won't go back and tell you a lot, but I'm going to tell you why I got in this again. I've been supporting the Polaris Project. I went to my doctor, 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and he told me, when he walked in the room, he said, look, he said, have you got an additional 7 or 8 minutes? I said, yeah, sure. He said, I've got something I need to tell you. And I'm thinking, well, he's going to give me some bad news because he's been running some tests, blood tests and so forth. And I said, hey, let me have it. He said, God told me to tell you something. And my mouth dropped. I said, what? He said, God told me to tell you something. He said, and he told me to do it today. So I got to tell you. And then he handed me this prescription. And it tells me to go to the Church of the Highlands, and then small groups, and then search for smaller groups, and then do the advanced search. Well, I did this. I mean, who am I to if someone tells me that God told them to tell me, I'm not going to turn away from it. I'm being called here, okay? So I go and do this, and when I get into the advanced search, there's 50 different positions at every kind of level, anywhere from teaching Sunday school, which I have. I've taught adult, and I've taught the 6-year-old or the first grade class. My wife and I together taught those classes. And so I kind of want to get back into that. But then this one jumped out at me hard, because this one has been a pet peeve of mine for a long, long time. Human trafficking. Years ago, when I was on the department and my wife owned a beauty shop in the city I worked for, came in one night and she said, hey, I got something to run by you. I said, okay. She said, a customer come in. She said, a new customer. I've not known her. I've never met her. She was a walk-in. And I cut her hair, and she got to talking, and she said, do you do any modeling? And my wife told the customer that she has modeled for years for the beauty supply warehouses in the Birmingham area that come by her shop and sell her supplies. And to pay her, they treat her to cruises. So she's modeled for them. She's modeled for a place called Southern Skin Diving Supply. She's also a 5'1" skin diver. I mean, go down 100 feet and bring up bow stones off of a ship sunk in 1720. And I still have about 30 of them here on hand. And another, she also modeled on these cruises that they gave her. So when she said model, that didn't jump out because she's been doing it. And she's modeled for a clothing store in an adjacent city that caters to the tiny kingdom, the higher ups in the town, in the city I work for. And she said this woman wanted her to come by and wanted to bring her daughter, my daughter, to model for them. And I said, wanted you to come by where? And she told me the house, gave me the address. She said, Jody, it doesn't sound right. I said, okay. I said, let me go check it out first. Well, number one, it was not in the city. It was about 3 houses outside the city, and it was in a different city. It was in Birmingham. And I went to that house, but I didn't go by for a social visit. I went by in my uniform. It was on my beat, 3 houses off of my beat. So I went there, knocked on the door, and lady come to the door, and I asked her if her husband was in, and man come to the door, and I questioned him. He said, can I ask what this is about? I said, yeah, you asked my wife to come and model for you, and I want to know what your modeling is, what you're doing with it. Oh, well, I can explain all that. I said, well, explain it to me. And so he talked about 5 or 6 minutes, and I said, you know what? I have your number. I said, let me get back with you. And I said, this is my beat. My beat ends right over there, but, you're still considered my beat because you're on the street that my beat ends on. And so I'm going to come back and see you, but let me go check some things out. I went back the next day, and the man and woman was not there. They were gone. And no one answered the door for several days. And finally, the next week, someone answered the door, and I said, I'm looking for so-and-so. Oh, they were some friends of the family that were coming through town, and they were trying to find a place to stay, and we were leaving town. So they paid us $1,000 to spend 2 weeks in our house, and we were down in Florida. I said, do you know these people? She said, no, sir, we don't, but we know the friends that know them. I said, okay. And now, tonight, during our class, I'm in the sex trafficking awareness class where we are going out and we're trying to capture, since Birmingham, Inverness area is one of the highest trafficking locations in our country. I didn't know that until recently. And that's just right off of my X beat. I'm no longer there, but right off my X beat and right down the street from my house, about 3 miles. Here's an intelligent, very attractive woman with an 11-year-old daughter. She said that someone in school approached her daughter and said, hey, we've got a way where you can somebody will give you $35 or something, some crazy number. And this is an 11-year-old girl that looks like she's about 13, but her mother said, no, no way. I'm going to go talk to these people. The mother went, and she sat and she talked to those people. And those people said, ma'am, we will pay your trip to Los Angeles. We will put you up in the finest hotels, and we'll pay for your modeling for every event. We'll foot the bill for everything, and we will pay you in advance before we leave here to head to Los Angeles. And the woman said, this is real. This is real. So when school was out, like 3 weeks later, this is what she and her daughter did. But she took a precaution. She kind of left her daughter with a family member, and she went alone. It took her 3 years to escape. When they got her off that plane into that high-rise hotel in Los Angeles, then they took her out and carried her to her first modeling location. Near there, they took all her information, everything in her purse that described who she is, driver's license, social security number, even had a passport. They took everything from her. Now, the next thing they told her, you're going to model today in the nude. And she like, what? It took her 3 years to escape. Look, these people are for real. They will turn a believer that stands sternly and hardcore against trafficking, but yet make them believe that this one is legit, that one is not. So I saw that happen almost to my wife, that I prevented it. And I watched that lady tell the story today. And ironically, my wife and my daughter was 11, her daughter's 11. My wife almost fell for it. This woman did fall for it. That's the way human trafficking gets not only children, but adults. She fell for it, guys. She fell for it, and they got her. Thank God that she had her daughter to stay somewhere else. That's after arriving at the airport. She had someone else pick up her daughter prior to her being picked up. Had they picked up her daughter and her at the same time, then chances are they'd never gotten out, because at that age, that little girl, that woman would try to kill somebody really quick, and both of them probably end up dead. And this is a pet peeve of mine. This is something that I'll break bones over. And this is something that Get Even doesn't come close. I mean, it's judgment time. And I just want to make you aware how serious this is. 23 million, at least today, 23 million young girls and even their mothers and then young sons are taken in this manner. And today, estimated that 23 million are somewhere being used as sex slaves and trafficked and even sold. The movie Taken, I can't recall the gentleman's name. The movie Taken, watch it. Everything except this man kicking the butt, that's the way it goes down. But you don't get them back so easily. Most of the time you don't get them back in one piece. Please, people, take that to heart. Please think about that. And I want to try to make everyone I can aware, even this much, that it is so easy for someone to con you, even a 30-year-old woman that worked as an associate, that made a lot of money, but what's a little extra money? A few $1,000s a week for the next, 2 months. My goodness, I'll go buy a new car for me and my husband. Guys, open your eyes. They will trick you. They will wear fine suits and dressed up. Look like ship shape. Legit. They'll give you all the papers in the world you want that you can read and go through, and internet, look up, and everything's up and up until you get there. When you get there, the first thing they do is take all your identity away from you. The second thing they do is rape you. And then the third thing they do is force you to have sex with 20 plus people a day, because you have to first pay them back for the money they spent on you. And they spent so far over $5,000 to get you there and to put you up in a hotel. And then you're paying them back for that. And out of a hit, 20 a day, you might pay them back at the rate of $5 per hit, guys. This is true. This is a fact. This is the God's truth. Please hear me. This is happening. And at 23 million today, in 6 months or a year, it'll be 24 million, because Guatemala, San Salvador combined 50,000 people, women mostly, a year go missing. 2,000 a day in the United States go missing. Of the 2,000 a day, about between 1/2 and 3/4 are accounted for somehow, some way. But you still have 500 plus a day that you never hear from again, except those that are found dead. Open your eyes. It's real. It's here. It's evil as hell. And they will get you if you let them. Don't let them. Please don't let them. Jody Wolf Expoz.